Hey guys, let us continue with our polity static series. So today's topic is center-state relation. It is in the part 11 of our constitution. So this is about the division of administrative, legislative and even financial function, but does not include the judicial function because we have independent and integrated judiciary. Now first one is about the legislative powers. Like it starts from article 245 to 255. First one in that is territorial extent. Center, whole or part of India, and even they have extraterritorial jurisdiction. State, whole or part of state. This is the territorial extent of center and state. Now what are the laws of parliament or the restriction? So in case of union territory, then in case of scheduled area, governor can place some restriction, and in case of tribal areas in Assam also governor can place some restriction. But the other tribal areas like Mizoram, Meghalaya and Tripura, president can issue orders. Only in case of Assam, governor. So these are some of the restriction on law of parliament which can be made. Now regarding the distribution of legislative subjects, we have 3 lists in the 7th schedule. So union list contains 100 subjects, and then state list 61, concurrent 52. So originally we had 97, increased it to 100, 66 in state list, decreased it to 61, then 47 in concurrent list, increased to 52. Now coming to the residuary power, it lies with the union under article 248. Now parliamentary legislation in the state field. When parliament can legislate in state subjects. So when Rajya Sabha passes a resolution in national interest under article 249, and even in case of national emergency under article 240, and when state makes a request under article 242, and then to implement an international treaty or agreement under article 253, then in case of president rule under article 356. So these are the various grounds in which parliament can interfere in state subject. When Rajya Sabha passes a resolution in case of national emergency, president rule, when state requested, or for implementing an international treaty or agreement. Now 42nd Amendment, it shifted subjects like education, forest, weight and measure, protection of wildlife like wild animals and bats, and then administration of justice and constitution of lower courts. So all these things were shifted from state list to concurrent list in 42nd Amendment Act 1976. Right? Education, forest, weight, wildlife, justice, then constitution of lower court. Now what are the important subjects in the concurrent list? So the various important subjects are criminal law and procedure, civil law and procedure, marriage and divorce, population control and family planning, social and economic planning, electricity, labor welfare, newspaper, books, printing press, etc. So all these things were in the concurrent list where even state or make law. Now the next one is related to various articles and what are the conditions and who needs to give approval and other conditions. We'll look at them. So first one, 249. In case of national interest, Rajya Sabha passes a resolution with 2/3 majority of members present and voting. Will be in force for 1 year. It is restricted only to subjects specified in resolution. 250. National emergency. No resolution is required. State list converts into concurrent list. 252. When state makes a request, no resolution or necessary. States so requested will lose authority on the subject. Parliament can only amend and repeal the law made so far. 253. To give an effect to an international agreement, no approval, no condition. 356. President rule. So we already saw in detail, right, about president rule. So these are the conditions. In case of national interest, Rajya Sabha passes a resolution, it will be in force for 1 year. Then in case of national emergency Also, stateless can be converted into concurrent. And in case when state makes a request, Parliament will make law. Then for implementing international agreement or even during president rule, these things will be done. Now, what is the center's control over state legislation? So, what are the various controlling done by center? Reservation of bill to president by governor. Then absolute veto to president on state bill. So, it's not available in case of parliament bill. When parliament sends a bill, again after reconsideration, president must give an approval. But in case of state list, president can again reject the bill or send back the bill. Then president can ask for reservation of bill for his consideration during financial emergency. Previous sanction of president is required for certain bills. Bills related to interstate trade and commerce. It requires president prior approval. So that's all in the legislative part. Now we are entering the administrative part from Article 256 to Article 263. So this talks about the distribution of executive power, coextensive with legislative power. On concurrentless parliament law can override state law. Exception: president assert on reserved bill. However, law on concurrent list are executed by state. Distribution of executive power coexistent with just like legislative power on concurrent list, parliament law can override state. So the exception is president. If president gives an assent to certain bill, then parliament cannot interfere or override it. Our laws on concurrent list are executed by the state. Now the next one is obligation of state and center. State executive power shall be in compliance with parliamentary law. State executive power shall not override the prejudice executive power of center. So state executive power is limited to center. And center's direction to state. Center can give direction to the state on communication system, maintenance of railways, then instruction of mother tongue to linguistic minority till primary stage. In all these things, center can give direction to the state. So the direction under Article 356, if not followed, can be constitutional breakdown in state under Article 356, and failure to follow the center's direction under Article 365. In both these cases, president rule can be imposed on the states. Now, mutual delegation function. So, what are the mutual delegation functions? 258. President can request governor for no use of state for the use of state machinery. In that case, state's consent is mandatory. So, using state machinery, state consent is mandatory. 258A. Governor can request president for use of central executive machinery. So, union consent is mandatory. So, this is about using the machinery of state and center. Both of them have to seek permission of that particular government under 258A and 258. Now, parliament can entrust executive function of the centers to state. If parliament does it by law, no consent of state is necessary. So, by creating a law, if it entrusts an executive function, then state approval is not needed also. Full faith and credit clause. So, states and centers shall respect the public act, record, judicial proceeding of all other states. They have to obey or respect the public act of other states also, which is full faith and credit clause. Then interstate river water dispute. Parliament can make a law. Judiciary cannot intervene in water related dispute under Article 262. Interstate River Water Dispute Act 1956 was enacted by the Parliament. Now, regarding All India Services, Article 312, Parliament can create new All India Service. As of now, we have 3 services, right? IAS, IPS and Indian Forest Service. So, Parliament can even create new AIS. Condition is Rajya Sabha approval is necessary with 2/3 majority present and voting. Then All India Services are recruited and trained by center but allocated to the states. State cannot impose any major punishment and ultimately responsible to the President of India. Now regarding the Public Service Commission. It's appointed by the governor but can be removed only by the President of India. Parliament can create a JPSC, that is Joint Public Service Commission. So JPSC acts as a statutory body and not a constitutional body. Whereas in case of UPSC and SPSC, they are constitutional bodies. On request of governor, President can request UPSC to serve state for recruiting certain posts. Then emergency. We already dealt about emergency in detail. Now governor appointed by the president and enjoys office during the pleasure of President of India. Now Article 355 and duties of Center. Center has responsibility to protect the state from internal disturbance, external aggression, war, to carry on the government according to the provisions of Constitution. Now State Election Commission. It's appointed by the governor but can be removed only by President of India. So this is about the State Election Commission. More of them like SPSC, SCC, all these things are appointed by the governor but removed only by President. Now what are the various extra constitutional devices available? In form of Niti Aayog, NIC, National Integration Council, UGC, University Grants Commission, Central Council, Conference, etc. So all these are extra constitutional devices available. Now that's all in the executive part. Now we will talk about the financial relation between center and state. Article 268 to 293. These are related to financial relation. Allocation of taxation power. More tax are in state list, but remunerative taxes are in center list. So major of the tax in state list, remunerative tax in center list. Residuary taxation power is also with the union only. Now distribution of tax revenue. Under 88th Amendment, alternative scheme devolution of tax was recommended by the 10th Finance Commission and it was implemented by 88th Amendment. Alternative scheme devolution of tax. Article 265 talks about no tax can be levied or collected except by authority of law. Only authority of law can collect tax under Article 265. Now what are the various distribution of tax revenue? Article 268. From Article 268 to 271, all these four laws are levied by center. Then Article 269 to 271. So all these three are collected by center. Now state collects Article 368. The tax under Article 268 and is collected by state. 268 alone is collected by state. Now the first two taxes, 268 and 269, they are appropriated to states. In case of 270, it is shared between center and state. 271 is the only tax which center appropriates. Now we will look at the example of these taxes. 268, where center levies it but collected and appropriated by state. What are they? Stamp duty, check, promissory check, insurance, all these things. Now the tax which is levied and collected by center and given to the state, what is that? Taxes on interstate trade and commerce. Revenue from these do not form part of Consolidated Fund of India. Now which is a tax which is collected and levied by center, but it will even share it with center, a state. What is that? All the union list tax like income tax, corporate tax, etc. except the agri income. Now which is a tax which is collected, levied and appropriated by the center itself. It is surcharge under Article 268, 269 and 270. In case of surcharge, center collects and levies and keeps it. Now which is a tax which is levied, collected and appropriated by the state? It is the sales tax, excise duty on liquor and narcotics, octroi, professional tax, maximum of rupees 2,500, limit kept by the Constitution. Now what is the tax revenue as per the division of power in Schedule 7. It grants 3 aid to the state. So what are the grant and aid to the state? First is statutory grant under Article 275. Finance Commission will recommend, and it's charged out of Consolidated Fund of India, meaning it does not need Parliament voting. It includes general grant and also specific grant. Now, in case of discretionary grant under Article 282, Union will allocate according to its own discretion. And in case of other grants, these are the temporary grants in lieu of export of jute and jute-based product to Assam, Bihar, West Bengal and Orissa. It is no more relevant today. Now we'll also study about the Finance Commission. So Finance Commission is constituted under Article 280. It is a balancing wheel of fiscal federalism in India. It is a quasi-judicial body appointed by the President of India once in 5 years. Qualification are not mentioned in Constitution, whereas it is determined by the Parliament. It is purely recommendatory in nature and it makes recommendation on what are the various areas. Distribution of net proceeds of taxes between center and state, among states. That is, it talks about both the vertical and horizontal distribution of tax money collected. Then grant and aid under Article 275, we saw, right? It is about the statutory grant. Then recommendation to augment resources of Consolidated Fund of State to help municipality and panchayat on the basis of recommendation of State Finance Commission. So they will even give recommendation to augment the Consolidated Fund of State to help municipality and panchayat. And any other matter referred to it by the President will also be taken care of it. Okay. Protection of the state interest in financial matters. Certain bills in Parliament can be introduced only by prior recommendation of President. So what are they? A bill that varies expression of agri income, bill dealing with allocation of money to state, surcharge, alteration of taxes and duty where state interests are affected. So in all these cases, President prior recommendation is needed and President may refer it to the Finance Commission for his clarity. It is related to agri income, money transferred to the state, surcharge and alteration of taxes in which state interests are affected. Now regarding the borrowing power, center can borrow within or even outside India. State can borrow only within India. If state are having outstanding liability to the center, its prior permission is necessary for borrowing. Now center can give guarantee to the borrowing of state. Parliament and state legislation can fix limit. Now what are the tax immunity? Intergovernmental tax immunity. Center cannot tax state property and vice versa. So this is the intergovernmental tax immunity. Center will not tax state property and state cannot tax center's property. Then immunities do not apply in case of corporations or company of state and central government. So corporate company are exception to it, and property and income of local authority are not given immunity. Custom duties and excise duty on goods imported, exported, manufactured by state are also exceptions under this particular tax immunity. Now what are the committees for center-state relation made by the state? So in case of Tamil Nadu, it formed Rajmanna Committee recommendation, and Akali Dal of Punjab, it formed Anandpur Sahib resolution. So these recommendations were not taken into consideration by the center. Now even West Bengal made West Bengal memorandum. What are the common points mentioned in all these recommendations? Move towards true federation. Center shall have authorities only on defense, communication and external affairs. In remaining matters, let the state to take over and have an independent authority, but the recommendations were not taken into consideration. Then repeal of emergency provision. state consent to form new state shall be mandatory. Currently, we do not have mandatory state consent. We just need to seek state's recommendation, but it's not necessary that we stick to it. Then equal powers to Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, more revenue to state, residuary power to state. These are the things which are commonly recommended in all these state government committee recommendation. Now, what are the committees formed by Center? Center itself formed Sarkaria and Punji Commission. Now we'll talk about the interstate relation. Article 262. It talks about interstate river water dispute. Parliament may provide through for adjudication of dispute. Neither Supreme Court nor any court can exercise jurisdiction with respect to it. Parliament based on it has passed River Boards Act 1956 and Interstate Water Dispute Act 1956. So it has formed two acts in 1956. One is River Board, other one is Interstate Water Dispute. So Article 362, it is dealing with the interstate river water dispute, and Parliament will constitute the adjudicating authority. Now 263, it is related to Interstate Council. It is created by the Presidential Order and headed by PM, Interstate Council. Now 261. So full faith and credit class for Public Act, Record and Judicial Proceeding. We already saw about this particular class, right? Now Article 301 to 307 is related to the interstate trade and commerce, and Part 13. It comes under Part 13 of our Constitution. Parliament and state legislature by law can impose restriction. In case of state legislature, previous sanction of President of India is required to introduce the bill. Parliament can appoint authority to carry on provision related to trade and commerce. So they both can by law impose restriction. So for state to impose restriction, previous sanction of President is needed because the other state is also affected by his decision, right? So Parliament can appoint an authority to carry on with such provision. Then within the territory of India shall be free the trade and commerce. Now next one is related to Zonal Council. It is a statutory body formed under State Reorganization Act 1956 and it is only advisory body. Zonal Council. There are 5 zones: North, Centre, South, Eastern and Western. So Northeastern Council is a separate body, was created by separate Parliamentary Act in 1971. Zonal Council and Northeastern Council. Now what is the composition of this Zonal Council? The chairman is Union Home Minister, Chief Minister and 2 other ministers of each state will participate in it, and also administrators of Union Territory. So all these are members. Home Minister is the chair, Chief Minister, 2 other ministers, administrators of UT, all are members. CM on state of on rotation basis they work as chairman. Each year one person will be the vice chairman. If any members exist, they do not have voting rights. So in case of along with the minister and CM, Chief Secretary or Planning Commission members etc., in case if they participated, they cannot take part in voting. Then in case of Northeastern Council, it has separate special responsibility to make regional plan, maintenance of security, public order in the region. So that's all in the interstate relation part. Thank you.